Well, it's always nice to receive presents, and especially when it's your birthday. But when your staff give you a shirt for your birthday and you realise that you can't fit into it anymore, it's time to have a wee look at yourself and think, perhaps I need to lose a few kilos. Today we came down to the Lion Pub to meet a guy. He's not actually works at the Lion Pub, he actually is the manager of Club Misty's. And a few months ago he was in that situation and he thought, right, I need to shed a few pounds. And he thought, well, let's do that. And then he thought, well, I'll tell you what, let's do it, and let's do it for charity. So let's go in, meet Simon from the Lion Pub and also Colin from NMLT, which is one of the sponsors. So let's go in and check it out. Okay, now joining me is a gentleman, well actually who I've had the pleasure of interviewing before. His name's Colin Ward from NMT. But he is not only a good supporter here in the community, he's also a friend of Paul Patterson, the man who we're down here to see today. It feels a bit like Eamon Andrews in This Is Your Life. Anyway, Colin, how are you? Everything okay with you?
Yeah, everything's wonderful with me, yes. Things
Busy boy, right?
Yeah, very busy at this moment in time, yeah, very busy.
Right, how long have you known Paul?
Probably about 8 years now I've known Paul. During my early years in Bataya. I used to come in on contract work before. Okay, fully based here now, but I've known Paul quite a number of years, yes. Yep.
So what did you think when you heard that he was wanting to go on this sort of weight loss regime, and then how he linked it in with this sort of charity?
Well, you know, having known Paul for so long and the volume he could consume, I was very surprised that he could actually take this on, really. But as the months went on and us around him could see the volume he was losing and what cause he was putting it for, we could only but help and support him in that way. I could do with catching him up.
I was going to say, you know, you could actually support him in another way, couldn't you?
And I don't have a publican's life either, so mine's the other side of the bar, unfortunately.
Right.
But no, you know, it's just amazing what he's achieved, and you know, and NMT were really thankful to be part of his crusade, so to speak.
Okay.
And wish him all the best to continue it.
And what did you actually do to actually help support this whole cause?
Well, we actually sponsored him per kilometre for his marathon, plus obviously encouragement, meet him on the odd Friday night. He was off the alcohol for a while, which is all good. Again, I should be as well for a while, but no, we encouraged him and supportive on his weight loss and his fitness campaign he was on, and it was, say, when he told us the charity it's for, we thought, you know, it was all a good cause, and yeah, the owners of NMT, they went to see him in his bar and wished him on and pushed him on for it, so yes, it was well worthwhile thing.
Okay. Well, we'll just flesh it out for the viewers, because the charity aspect, it's actually the Chameleon Home in Rayong, which looks after children who are affected with HIV and AIDS, and we'll be speaking to a representative from them in a little while. But that seems to be when, you know, the Chameleon Home is very well supported and recognised, yes. But it seems to be one that when we're here, and I don't know whether it's because, you know, we've got young families or we're just residing and doing business and, I don't know, getting a piece of the pie out of Thailand because we're making a living here, sometimes there's just that urge to give back, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, I think whether at home or overseas, we tend to try and do something to put something back into any community, whether it be here or where we come from. And it's all part of being of the social scene, mixing and greeting, you know, think we're playing our part, whether it be at home or here. And here, you know, there's some very well worthwhile charities here. NMT do a few, and yes, you know, worthwhile causes. And say it gets a socialising scene. We meet new people, we meet different aspects of the community, and it moves forward.
That's it. Oh yeah, that's it. And the end result is you help these kids.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely. You know, we run a few, and we're very happy to be part of it.
All right. So next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Nah, forget that.
All right, thanks very much, Colin.
Welcome.
All right, thank you. Cheers. All right, stay tuned. We're going to speak to Simon here at the Lion Pub. Simon's an old friend of Paddy Mail TV, a well-known character in town. He was the former manager of Shenanigans, but he's now here at the Lion Pub. So let's see why he got involved. Is it this personal connection? Stay tuned. All right, another larger-than-life character here is Simon Dutton. Simon, you're an old buddy of Paul's, are you? Or an adversary, maybe?
No. We're definitely old buddies. We've been drinking together for years.
So when you heard, I mean, and you're a bit of a big lad yourself, and you're known for it, but when you heard that Paul was going to do this, what did you think? No swearing.
Well, no, I'd had a few drinks and he told me about it, and I just went, yeah, go on then, I'll give you 1,000 for every kilometre.
Okay.
You know, I didn't know that he'd make the whole distance.
Yeah, so I think it was 21.5 kilometres or something.
Yeah, 21,500 baht, yeah.
Ouch.
So, all good, all for a good cause.
Well, it is for a good cause, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been down to the Chameleon Centre before? Have you been down there?
I mean, we've been a long supporter of the Chameleon Centre. I've been here nearly 14 years now, and the Chameleon Centre has been a close one to me, and we've done a lot of charities for that. So, yeah, no, it was a good choice of Paul to choose that one.
Okay, all right. So how do you feel to be part of all this?
Well, a lot poorer than I did beforehand, but no, I'm very happy to have assisted this, and the Chameleon Centre is a great cause for what Paul's done, and you know, all praise to Paul for doing it.
Okay. Well, I don't think, you know, I've interviewed you many times before, but I don't think ever at the Lion Pub. So do you want to just give a quick plug for the Lion Pub, where you are and what you do here?
Yeah, I guess after I left Shenanigans, I opened the Lion Pub. We've got a hotel and a sports bar. Probably more of an Australian theme, following, you know, my Australian. A lot of sports, some friendly hostesses to give you cold beer. You know, and we're here having a good fun down on Tepesset Soy 17. Tepesset Soy 8 or Soy 17 up Third Road. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, thanks very much, Simon. All right, we're going to speak to the man himself. Hopefully, he hasn't started on the vodkas yet. Maybe. Who
Not
knows?
too much.
All right. Cheers, mate. Thanks very much.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers. Thank you. Okay, now I'm joined by the man. I was saying I feel a bit like Eamon Andrews today.
Where's your
My red book. Joined by the man who's lost all this weight, 35 kilos. It's Paul Patterson, a man who's just a shadow of his former self. Paul, well done, mate.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed.
How do you feel?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good about losing the weight. Pretty good about what I've been able to achieve so far.
Okay, now we're filming this in September, but when was your birthday? When was it this when it all started in your mind and you thought, come on, got to take a step back here?
My birthday was the 26th of February. Day or two to sort of mull it over. I think I actually started the diet, if you like, the 1st of March.
So, how many kilos were you then?
118.
We'll bring up a picture of Paul so you can actually get an idea what sort of size he was. But yeah, that's quite a weight. And the thing is, you're not a tall guy, right?
No,
you're not like you're not like Simon. So you were, I guess, no offence, you were probably what the doctors say clinically obese, right?
Correct. I was quite proud of myself a couple of months ago when I actually went from obese to just merely overweight.
Well, everybody's overweight, of course. Yeah. Okay, so how did you do it? Because you know, weight loss isn't. It's something we always think that our wives or girlfriends do or whatever, but it is a hell of a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah. As we've already discussed, for a day or two after my birthday, I thought I've got to lose weight. I looked around on the phone and found an app which was a calorie counter and a diet tracker, and that sort of got me started and cut out a few sort of key things, and for sure I started to lose a bit of weight. But then as time progressed and days became weeks and weeks became months, the initial weight loss slowed dramatically. And then I thought, oh, it's going to take something a bit more. I've got to actually start doing some exercise.
Now that's one of those things where you lie in your bed and you think, all right, I'm going to do it, but actually to bounce out of bed and put on your training shoes instead of your normal work gear, and of course in the environment that you work, You know, you're basically taking care of customers all the time, and there are, you know, you're obviously there's drinks involved, but you're probably eating at the wrong time as well. So you probably had to reset your whole life here.
The whole, you're absolutely correct. It's. I've spoken to a number of people since, and they said how did you do it, and what did you do, and what did you eat, but it's not so much about a diet. It's more a change of lifestyle, as you suggest. I mean, I sleep at different times to most people. I was eating all the wrong things at the wrong time, and just, you know, if you had a checklist, I was probably, I'd be able to, all the things you shouldn't do, I'd probably tick most of the boxes. So it's a change of lifestyle, not just counting every single calorie you eat.
So you basically started working out by walking. You started taking walks that were about 20, 25 minutes every day.
Something, yeah, a maximum of maybe half an hour, at a very plodding pace, you know, literally plodding.
But this is the thing, isn't it? It's the fact that you did it every day, because people, I think you've got to be careful that you say, oh, well, you know, I've done a half an hour walk, but unless you keep at it, nothing happens.
There's no quick fix. You got to, as you rightly say, you got to stick at it. But when you start to see the results, and with technology being what it is, with all the many apps that are out there, that's motivational, and also the support. When people saw that I was making an effort, the likes of my friends, customers, acquaintances via Facebook and other medium, that you know, I owe a huge thank you to them.
Well, today we've interviewed Colin and Simon, but there's been numerous other people and lots of your other friends and loyal customers, I guess, at Misty's. So then this was heading towards the marathon. Now, I mean, you know, it seems kind of crazy that a guy who was 118 kilos can then contemplate doing something like that.
Well, the way it came about is, as we've already discussed, I was doing half an hour a day, and half an hour became 45 minutes at a slightly quicker pace, no sprinting or whatever, and then 45 minutes became an hour. And then one day, I can't remember where, it was a billboard or a BART bus or something, but I just saw the marathon advertised, and I thought, you know, that would be something else to aim for, rather than just losing weight for losing weight's sake. It's, you know, it's something to aim for, something to achieve.
Now, at that point, is that where it starts to tie in with, well, let's do it and raise some money?
Absolutely. I thought, well, if I'm going to do that, I might as well, you know, try and raise a few baht for a good cause.
When you thought a few baht, okay, you had people like Simon who was saying, you know, he sponsored you 1,000 baht per kilometre, so it cost them just over 21 grand. What kind of figure did you have in your mind that you're thinking, this would be great if I could achieve that?
Initially, Paul, I hoped for, I don't know, 50,000 baht, but I'll be honest, I did cheat a bit, because it was widely publicised via Facebook, and you know, oh, we're only another couple of thousand baht from this target and this target and this target, and it just went up and up and up. Thanks to the generosity of the likes of Simon, Colin, the lads at Sapphire, and one or two that individuals that prefer not to be named. It really did just escalate.
So what was the grand total?
257,643 baht, approximately.
My God, that's unbelievable. You know, 250,000 baht in the space of about 6-7 months, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you weren't doing 7 months of fundraising, but you'd losing the weight. So you lost 35 kilos, raised all this money, but where's the money going to?
I looked around. What I wanted was a good cause. When I was coming here on holiday before I moved here, myself and my wife had sponsored a couple of children at the orphanage. We'd visited the orphanage. I had the pleasure of meeting Father Ray, and I enjoyed what I'd done with the orphanage. But I just wanted to, how can I put it, spread the net a little bit further, I guess, insofar as the orphanage is a great cause. Father Ray's Foundation is a great cause. Please don't misunderstand me. However, being in Pattaya, it does attract a hell of a lot of publicity, positive publicity. And I just wanted to spread the net a little bit wider. Long story short, I done some research. I came across the Chameleon Centre. I contacted the centre. And it basically went from there. I asked them some pert questions, as one would, and they came back to me and gave me some very positive answers, and it just went from there, basically.
Well, in a moment we're going to speak to Paul from the Chameleon Centre. So you reached this 250,000, which is 5 times more than you'd hoped to achieve. Is the 35 kilos, is that the end of it in terms of the weight loss?
That's a tough call. I don't want to take it too far. I mean, if you check all the 1,000,001 websites that are out there, I probably still about 9 kilometres over my BMI, body mass
Kilos,
index.
yeah, okay. All right, so the kilos you're pretty happy with. If you could shed a few more, you're okay. But what's happened after this 250,000 that you've raised, you found out that people are really sort of behind you, and they want to. So you've got more money in the pot. And I know that you were at Jester's Children's Fair recently, and you walked from Pattaya, central Pattaya, out to Regents. I bet you were wishing it was at Diana, like it's always been. And you walked all the way to Regents that day. Now, you raised how much on that day?
25,000. 25,000.
That's great work. 500 quid. My God, unbelievable. So, what's the next goal then, if it's not the weight loss?
Yeah, as you rightly suggest, the weight loss, I mean, if I can just carry on losing, a few 100 grams a week, I'll be happy with that. I don't want to become obsessive. However, my target now is I actually, hopefully at least, and I've got a better chance of doing it now, it'll be my 50th birthday next February. So my February fundraiser is going to be 50 for 50 for 50. 50 kilometres for 50 years for my 50th birthday.
Well done. Well, that's great. And you're going to walk, I think, you're going to try and do so the entire Bay of Pattaya, the Pattaya and Jomtien.
Initially that was my plan, but I've spoken to a number of people, and what I'll probably do now is traverse between the walking street sign and the far end of Beach Road, because then that gives people an opportunity to come along, join in. Paul and I have been discussing ideas. Maybe there'll be some bars along Beach Road that want to become part of it, and stick to a very simple route. Basically, in pure kilometre terms, I've got to do that 9 times to get to 52 kilometres.
And so you aim to do that just prior to your birthday?
It certainly won't be the day after.
I'm sure it won't be. Right. Okay, well, Paul, I think it's brilliant what you've done. I mean, you've obviously touched a lot of the people in the community, and not just because of the money that you've raised, which is vital, of course, but also, when you're reaching that half-century mark, you're right. You got to be careful, because you got to look after your heart, got to look after your body, and only you can do it.
Absolutely, and nobody else can do it for you. And it's finding that motivation. And I've been very, very fortunate amongst some very, very kind, generous, good people that has, provided that motivation and support. And in the early stages, once you get into it, as we discussed earlier on, it's not about going on a diet. It's a change of lifestyle. And once you've got people supporting you in that change of lifestyle, all of a sudden, most of the time, it becomes a lot easier.
So now, when you get out of bed in the morning, you look at the running shoes. Do you shake your head, or do you jump into them?
Some mornings, most definitely yes. Some mornings, most definitely yes. I can't tell a lie, Paul. Some mornings, most definitely yes.
Well, there you go. Paul's a colourful character, and if you would like to have one of those days where you don't want to jump into your running shoes, you should go to Misty's A Go-Go just off of a walking street the night before, because then he'll sort you out with your hangover. If not, you can perhaps even join him in the fundraising that he'll be doing towards the end of the year or just after the new year. Okay, we're going to speak to another Paul. It's very confusing here today, and the beer hasn't even started yet at the Lion Pub. And his name's Paul, but he's from the Chameleon Centre, which is the beneficiary of this just over $250,000 baht that Paul's raised. Paul, well done. Thank you very much, mate. Cheers. Okay, now joining me is a guy who actually I have interviewed before down at the Chameleon home. His name is Paul Baird. He takes care of the English PR down there. Paul, what does this kind of money, what does this kind of mean to the centre?
Well, it means a great deal. If I tell you that the Chameleon Centre, with all the various projects that we undertake, the expenses are around about 2.5 million baht per month.
Per month?
Yes.
Okay.
And most of that, of course, is in wages, which have very recently gone up. If you were talking to me 6 months ago, I would have told you the expenses were 2 million baht. So the likes of this event of Paul's in July and the upcoming event next February work wonders in maintaining the bank balance, so we can do the work that we do.
Well, it's very interesting what you're saying, because we hear about minimum wage and we think, well, it's a good thing looking after the Thai workers or whatever, but of course it affects charities as well, or people who need money.
In actuality, apparently, as a charity, we don't have to conform with this. However, one of the hardest things to do is keep our workers. And if we weren't to pay the minimum wage, we'd lose even more workers. So,
let's talk a little bit about the centre, because I've been down there a few times, and I remember you tricked me one time because you had a young girl sitting beside us, and whilst the camera was rolling, and I've told this story many times to my friends, you explained that she was a volunteer at the centre, or she was working there, and then you said, but 12 months ago she was a patient. And I don't know whether she's still with us or whatever, but you tugged at my heartstrings as the camera was rolling.
I don't remember it actually, Paul. But
there you go. That's one of the things getting older. But let's talk about the centre. You said about the various projects. Predominantly, it's to look after children with HIV and AIDS. Is that correct?
Yeah, we take care of over 100 children throughout 4 sites. The site that I work at is the main site, the Chameleon Social Centre Rayong, but that has another 2 sites linked to it in the Rayong area, and we also help finance the children with disabilities in a place called Lat Krabang, which is a suburb of Bangkok.
Just not far from the airport.
That's right, not far from the airport. So this is taking care of many, many children.
Okay. Now, when you say that kids, what kind of age group are we talking about, or is it the whole spectrum?
It's the whole thing. It's literally from, I think our youngest is about 2.5 years old, up to until they finish their full-time education, which is into their 20s. So,
So, as the centre, you take care of their needs, I guess their medical needs as well. What about the retroviral drugs?
The antiretroviral drugs, we are very, very lucky these days in that since 2005, these have been available for Thai citizens free of charge from the Thai government.
Wow, that's fantastic.
That is fantastic because it saved us a fortune.
Yes.
Unfortunately, in the meantime, everything else has gone up. So our expenses per child are probably roughly the same. But at least that's a help. There's no worry now about the actual medication like there was in the first place.
Okay. Well, Paul, Just whilst I have you on camera, I would like to ask you about something else that's coming up, which may be of interest to our viewers, and especially those who've got an enthusiasm for motorbikes. This is happening at the end of September. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Sunday the 29th of September, there is a fun run down to the centre from Pattaya Ducati on 3rd Road. It will start promptly at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 p.m. And it's about a 40-50 minute run down Sukhumvit, past Buddha Mountain, and along Sukhumvit again to the centre. While there, we will have free drinks, not beer, soft drinks and coffee and tea and that sort of thing for the riders. But we will also ask volunteers to take the children on a little run up the side soy to give them a bit of excitement of a powerful motorbike and just put a smile on their face for the afternoon. In the meantime, Potsy, one of the top Pattaya DJs, is going to be running a disco for everybody. So it's just a fun afternoon. No racing, plenty of wheelies. Well, it's something just to put a smile on their faces, you know.
Okay, and that's on Sunday the 29th.
Sunday the 29th, beginning at 2 p.m. Ducati Pattaya.
Okay.
3rd Road.
All right. Stay with me, Paul. All right. So there you go. September the 29th to the Sunday. Maybe this is your chance to get yourself down to the Chameleon Centre. Find out what it's all about. Find out about the work that Paul is doing, and Father Giovanni's.
All bikes are welcome.
Not just Ducatis.
Not just Ducatis. Come and see the Ducatis, but if you've got a Kawasaki, I had one not long ago. Don't worry about it. All bikes are welcome.
All bikes are welcome. But when you go down there, on a serious note, it just touches you, and you see these kids, and you realise, well, maybe I can do something. So look down at your waistline and think, if you're the same as Paul, perhaps it's time you start to get yourself in shape. This is Paul and Simon and Colin at the Line Pub. Bye-bye. See you again. Thanks very much. Thank you.